If someone steals your password, you can change it, but what will you do if that person steals your face or fingerprint? You're probably wondering how. That is the single, terrifying question at the heart of biometrics. In our last video, 2FA implementation, we showed you how to secure your accounts using something you know, your password, and something you have, your phone. Now, we examine the final factor of authentication, inherence, or something you are, your fingerprint, your face, or your voice. Biometrics, like Face ID and fingerprint sensors, have revolutionized convenience. We tap, we glance, and we're instantly logged into our bank, our payment apps, and our phones. The ease is undeniable. But as a security concept, it carries a unique, non-negotiable risk. A standard password can be reset 1,000 times, a stolen face cannot. If a criminal compromises the digital representation of your body, that compromise is permanent and universal. Today, we're dissecting biometrics. We'll show you the crucial difference between the image and the template, explain the fundamental pros and cons of using your body as your master key, and, most importantly, reveal where the true, unfixable vulnerabilities lie, so you can integrate this technology safely. If you want to see how we help secure sensitive data, providing a defense that is both strong and efficient, visit us at tileris.com right now. Part 1. Deconstructing biometric authentication. The biggest misconception about biometrics is a critical point of failure. Most people believe their phone stores a picture of their face or a scan of their fingerprint. If that were true, every time you took a high-resolution selfie, you would be compromising your security. Fortunately, the technology is much more sophisticated. The biometric template, a mathematical signature. When you enroll your Face ID or fingerprint, the device does not capture a photographic image. It captures data points about your unique anatomy. For a fingerprint, the sensor measures the unique paths, splits, and endings of your ridges. These are called minutiae points, and maps them mathematically. For systems like Face ID, it uses specialized infrared projectors to cast thousands of invisible dots onto your face, creating a precise 3D depth map that analyzes the exact distance and geometry between your eyes, nose, and mouth. This raw data is immediately converted into a unique mathematical signature known as a biometric template or hash. This template is then heavily encrypted and stored only on your device, specifically within a physically isolated and dedicated chip called a secure enclave or trusted execution environment. The key security feature here is that when you attempt to log in, the new scan is converted into a template and compared to the stored one, all within that secure chip. Crucially, the image or the raw scan data never leaves the sensor, and the template never leaves the secure hardware. Biometrics solve two fundamental problems that standard passwords create, offering clear advantages. The first is convenience. Biometrics eliminate the immense friction of logging into your phone or apps multiple times a minute, which significantly increases the adoption of security. People are much more likely to use a long, strong, unique passcode if they only have to enter it once a day, relying on Face ID the rest of the time. The second is unphishability. Biometrics are inherently resistant to remote attacks like phishing. A criminal on a fake website, no matter how convincing, cannot steal your fingerprint or face remotely. They require physical presence and sophisticated hardware. This makes biometrics an excellent secondary factor for local device access. Part 2. The core vulnerability, permanence and spoofing. While biometrics are resistant to remote theft, they have fundamental vulnerabilities related to the physical world and the digital template that pose a unique, unfixable risk. The first critical technical issue is liveness detection, the system's ability to definitively tell if the key being presented is a living, conscious person or a sophisticated reproduction. This is where most cheaper or older systems fail. Simple 2D facial recognition, which relies on a standard camera, can often be fooled by a high-resolution photograph or a mask. The more sophisticated systems use a 3D depth map, making them highly resistant to these traditional spoofing methods. However, even these systems are being challenged by sophisticated 3D printed masks or high-resolution facial scans, proving that the barrier is merely technical, not impossible to overcome. Similarly, high-tech fingerprint spoofs, while difficult, can be created using specialized materials. If our friend Alex were to use a cheaper system, a static mask or even a sophisticated latent print could compromise their device, granting the criminal local access. 3. The template compromise, the permanent risk. The most catastrophic risk, however, is not the physical spoofing. It occurs when the biometric template itself is compromised. Remember that the template is the unique, mathematical representation of you. Imagine a scenario where a criminal gains access to a corporate or government database where templates are stored. They don't get your face, but they get the unique, unchangeable hash that represents your face. If that template is stolen, you face the permanent risk of biometrics. You cannot reset your face. You cannot change your fingerprint. You are forced to use that same compromised key forever. This vulnerability is why it is absolutely paramount that all consumer devices store the template only in the local, secure enclave and never transmit it to a server. Any system that requires you to upload a selfie or a voiceprint to a server is exposing you to this permanent and irreversible risk. Biometrics and privacy, the unseen trail. The security risk aside, we must consider the immense privacy dimension. Biometric data is often categorized as the most sensitive form of personally identifiable information, p. If a system records not just your template, but also when and where you used your biometric key, it creates an unchangeable and highly precise trail of your physical movements and access habits. This data, which can include frequency of use and successful attempts, can be incredibly valuable for targeted advertising, state surveillance, or other unwanted profiling. The most secure biometric systems are designed to confirm your identity and then immediately discard the raw scan data, focusing solely on the local verification, but you must always review the privacy policy of any service that asks to collect this type of data. We've covered the fundamental trade-off, unmatched convenience versus the permanent risk of compromise. If you're realizing that using your body as a key is a lot more complex than simply tapping a screen, hit that like button. Your curiosity pushes this critical security discussion forward, and if you want to remain ahead of the curve in digital defense, subscribe to Tileris now. We are the architects of the digital defenses you need. Part 3. Local and layered defense. How should a security-conscious individual like you use biometrics? There is a disciplined approach based on two principles: local storage and layering. The rules of local and layered use. First, local storage is non-negotiable. You must never use a biometric system where the template is stored remotely on a server. As we detailed, this is the permanent compromise risk. Only use biometrics for local, device-level unlocking, where the template is stored securely in the hardware's secure enclave. Second, biometrics is the convenience factor, not the primary security factor. Use systems like Face ID or a fingerprint to quickly unlock your phone or your password manager after the main system has already been authenticated. It is a fantastic substitute for a short PIN, making it harder for a casual observer to access your device. Conversely, you should never rely on a biometric scan as the only required factor for high-value transactions or initial remote login. Always pair it with a strong, unique password and a second factor, such as a TOTP code. For example, use a fingerprint to open your banking app, but still require a transaction password or a separate 2FA code for any large money transfer. Biometrics should only ever replace the weakest link in the chain, the PIN, not the strongest, which is a complex password. So, is biometrics a friend or a foe? It is a qualified friend, provided you strictly adhere to these rules. Local only. Use systems that store the template only in a secure enclave on your device. Layered defense. Use biometrics as a quick, local substitute for a PIN, always backed up by a strong, unique password and a second factor, like TOTP, for remote access. Permanent risk awareness. Always maintain an acute awareness that your biometric template cannot be reset if compromised, making the security of its local storage paramount. The key to your security is minimizing and controlling the digital trace you leave behind. This philosophy extends beyond authentication and into your everyday communication. If biometrics is about what you are, the next frontier is about what you say and what you share. When you send a text or a voice message, how far does that message travel, and who is reading it along the way? The security of your private communication is entirely dependent on one concept: end-to-end encryption. In our next video, we will tackle a fundamental question of digital life: secure messaging. What does end-to-end encryption actually mean? Signal versus WhatsApp versus iMessage. We'll show you the cryptographic math that makes your messages unreadable, and, more importantly, we'll reveal the one key vulnerability related to metadata that even the best encryption cannot fix. Now, I have a question for you. Do you use Face ID or a fingerprint to unlock your banking app? Or do you still prefer to type in your password? Share your security habits in the comments below. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.